So, Adam, let's talk about this here where it was such a good idea and clearly was something that they knew. Scott Morrison probably tomorrow, we all know how this goes. You make a big announcement on the Sunday, you follow up on the Monday by talking to people that are examples that will be helped by this. That by the end of the day, Labor says, we'll copy it too. And the media, who are acting more as security guards for Shorten than reporters, spin it as a Labor win.
Well, I was quite perplexed to see Bill Shorten do that. It was a good initiative by the Prime Minister. We know that housing's certainly an issue front and centre in the campaign, particularly around the negative gearing tax that Labor are going to bring in, what that's going to do to home values and equity, and negative equity in particular, and also driving the price of rents up. So and a new initiative for first home buyers I think was a smart move. But for Labor's knee-jerk reaction, it sort of says one of two things to me. I'm not sure which one. One is that they're in panic mode and they don't want Scott Morrison marching any further with the SCO-mentum on the agenda around the housing issue, particularly targeting Labor's handful of taxes. But the other issue, it says to me more worryingly, is that they're very keen to adopt policy on the run so quickly. The art of a good opposition is someone who can debate policy, try and find holes in it and try and improve it, and for Labor not to look at ways that they can improve the policy if there is an opportunity to do that. I thought it made them look very scared and jumping at shadows and not wanting to see anything cause any concern in the last week of the election campaign. So certainly worrying signs for Labor if they've got to have that knee-jerk reaction, but also really concerning that they're not prepared to debate a policy.
Wow. All right, let's also check in here with you about this, Georgina, where, look, again, first home buyers, we supposedly had this giant conversation about housing affordability. Supposedly this was the reason why negative gearing changes were happening. Now Bill Shorten's out telling anyone who'll listen, oh, well, the McKell Institute, which is run by Labor people, produces Labor candidates and is where former Labor politicians go into retirement. They told us that it's going to be less than 1% of effect on house prices, which actually means 4/5 of bugger all. And that's the point. It was never about house prices. It was always about a tax grab, and that's where they get themselves onto the hook. If you want to do something about first home buyers getting into the market, you don't fiddle the market by dropping the price for everyone who wants to buy their second or third or downsize into their final home. You do everything you can, like the Howard government did with the first home buyers grant, or you work out what's one of the big impediments. One of the big impediments is stamp duty. State governments are generally cutting that for first home buyers, or the deposit. That's how you change it.
Yeah, and this is a fantastic policy, and Scott Morrison and the team should be congratulated for really identifying what is one of the biggest barriers for young people getting into the housing market. And I mean, typical Labor, as Adam said, they're not prepared to have a debate. It's a real concern that they are just adopting policies without actually thinking through how their policy agenda is going to impact this policy. I think they should reflect on the fact that their housing taxes are jacking up the price of rents. Now, if you're a first home buyer or prospective first home buyer saving, if now it's only going to be 5% deposit, you're going to find that a lot harder if you're paying increasingly higher rents. So, I mean, Labor's all over the shop here, and its housing taxes are going down incredibly badly in the electorates across the country, and people don't want to see the value of their homes smashed. We already have a weakening housing market. People who have worked hard to get into the property market don't want to see that smashed by Labor's housing taxes. So, Bill Shorten needs to be very careful about the consequences of his policies, and he has a lot to answer for.